Hello and welcome again to Inside HMI. Joining us today for an in-depth interview, we have Joe Leeway, who's given me permission to call him Joe.
Yes, please do.
Oh, so continue on.
Okay, so where are we? So,
we are in Woodland Hills.
Yes, in Woodland Hills. So I'm living in Woodland Hills thinking, and now I'm having to deal with strangers, and they weren't friends, but they were musicians. So I went through a few drummers and a few of this and a few of that until I started losing the flavour of it all. I started to go, wow, this isn't so good, I'm failing again. I need to reinvent myself, because I don't have a problem with major reinvention, because how I got in Thompson is a major reinvention. Yeah. So to cut a long story short, you know, cutting out all the gory details of where I went, but I went into, you know, the long night, dark night of the soul.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But then what made you decide to become a hypnotherapist? That's
okay, it's very, very simple. Money. I ran out of money. I could no longer, you know, the publishing was okay, but I tell you, when you're here and everything's being arranged in England and my accountants and that, I mean, when I first left, no one told me that I had to, we'd already paid like a whole big tax bill. When I left and walked out of the Thompson Twins in Japan in an emotional piece like this, feeling very artistic, I woke up and my accountant let me know, Joe, you do realise, again, you owe £380,000 in tax. And I go, but we just paid the taxes. And he says, oh yeah, but that was for last year, and that's for this year, so that's going to be your piece. Have you got it? I said, well, you know, you're the accountant, you know.
Oh my goodness.
And then, do you know what, 3 months after that, they signed our deal ran out, the deal ran out with Arista, and they signed another deal with Warner's and got, I think, 15 million. So I could have had a chunk of that, and that would have been, you know, so that's the lesson, you know, don't act on impulse, you know, really check it out. So anyway, to cut a long story short, I'd run out of money. So I was thinking of ways, so I sent the wife out to work first, you know, get out there, get working. And so she did. I mean, I literally did. You know, it'd been 10 years of whatever, we partied and all the rest of the party's over, we better get to work. So she was a photographer in her, you know, in her former life, which is where I met her in New York. And so she goes out and gets the gig, you know, being a photographer. But that still didn't bring in enough money. Oh, by the way, I'd had to sell the house in Woodland Hills, part of the long, you know, journey of the soul, and that went to. So, a leaflet comes through the door. Be a hypnotherapist. I'm looking through this and going, actually, I know something about mass hysteria. Maybe I could, you know, work this. Maybe I could actually make a connection with people. Because I always used to be interested in people and that, and maybe I could work with people. That wouldn't be such a bad idea. I think I could do that. And the way it was presented, it sounded really good. That you can transition from where you were into another employment, and it looked perfect. It was like very well done, and I'm thinking, yeah, okay, I'm going to check that out. So I came along to an open house, and then I had to do this awfully embarrassing thing, because not from America, I had to do some kind of like, had an ombudsman person with me. I had to do like a high school GED test or something, which kind of like there's math involved. And the woman went, "You're from the Thompson Twins, aren't you? Okay, shut up now and start doing this test." I'm thinking, oh my God, 1 and 1, that's 2. And you know, it was this absurd thing. Anyway, I got through that and eventually came to, I guess my personality, I did that, and that was okay. So I found myself here, and with Dr. Kappas, Alex Kappas, George and that. But I'm glad I came when I did, because, you know, Dr. Kappas was here and Alex Kappas was there, so I really got the full flavour of the whole aliveness. And it started to explain to me why I'd been sabotaging. I had literally, there were people in the class who knew a lot about the mind. I'd never had one therapy session in my life. You know, therapy was have a drink or whatever, you know, whatever, you know. You just do what you do. But the notion of going and talking about your stuff or releasing things and that was all new to me. So fortunately, I sort of was able to, you know, resonate with it, pick it up. And I think basically because I could build rapport, I was interested in people. You know, and that was it. And the rest was facilitated by HMI. The course was wonderful, and they took me through it, and you were able to fulfill your piece, and then you have your goal at the end, where you want to be, what do you want to do. So what happened was I came through, and at the end of it, I think I graduated like a month. I took an extra month to, you know, do some things and that, And within a couple of weeks or something, I got a call from George, saying, I'd like to know what you're doing, how you're doing. Would you be interested in a few more clients? Because I can throw some your way if you want to, if you'd be interested in that. And I forget what was going on, but there was some piece there, and it was like, yeah, okay, I'll come in and do that. And then once you start getting involved, the rest, things
continues
happen.
on. Do you remember your first client?
I remember one client, and yeah, I do remember my first client because I remember having the red book there, thinking about it, and the client coming in. I had to know everything,
Yeah.
Now I realise that's not the case, and I was thinking, oh God, is it going to be enough? But it was very interesting. The guy was a golfer, and he wanted to whop all his colleagues, because what frustrated him was he knew he could do it when he was on his own, but when he got with colleagues, he couldn't put that ball in the cup.
Oh, wow.
And he was also a baker, so he would bring donuts and things on a Saturday to, and it was a referral. Yeah, it was a referral for from HMI. So.
Very cool.
So don't blow it, Joe. And of course, so I'm working with the guy, and he's from New York, so he's got that New York attitude. So I'm working with him, and then he says, I hate to tell you, or whatever a New York accent is, yeah, I hate to tell you, but I'm not hypnotized. And I went, whoa, okay. So that was my first experience, but it was fine. He came up, and what I hadn't done was explain to him what hypnosis was, because there's a pre-induction.
Yeah.
It was the best lesson. The best lessons are when you really blow it, and then you really get the
Exactly.
learning. I've never made my pre-induction speech. If you get the thought that you're not hypnotized, then that lets you know that you're going deeper.
Right.
I forgot to tell him that. I'm not. Oh, okay, I get it.
There you go. There you go. All
Yeah.
right. Well, so now you've been an HMI instructor and a hypnotherapist for over 12 years now. What's different now in you, as in your practice, than maybe 5 years into your practice?
Okay, now I can just say, I think I need a few more clients, and they come, literally.
Wow.
That's the difference. I can't explain what that is.
Okay.
There's an ease to it. You go through that curve where am I ever going to get anybody? And somehow we all have different ways of doing it. But then it gets to a point where you kind of know what it's about. You know that the world that's in front of you, i.e. the client, has all the information, all the processes, and still as intriguing as ever. But I have a different strategy in terms of how I attract, and I know that there's all been about this law of attraction and those kind of things. I think what's increased over the 10 years is my awareness. I start to notice things that I didn't notice before, and so indefinable little pieces, but I'm much more at ease with myself, having been through all these experiences. And but it takes you going through the experiences to be, well, in my opinion, personally, it took me to get to where I am at the moment. And I'm in a happy place right now.
Yeah, you seem like it.
Yeah.
Well, why do you teach at HMI?
Well, George would, give me a kick if I did. Well, why do I teach at HMI? Like I said, it's a situation where you get to, as you're putting out the material, you get better at it yourself. It's a great way of learning. If you really want to know the subject, learn it, know it, then teach it.
Yeah.
That's the great. That's if you really want to get to know whatever it is you're doing. That's one way of doing it. So really knowing it, and again, I think I kind of like imparting and having that connection in a teaching role, in an instructing role.
Okay.
And I also like the things that occur during a teaching. I'm not the kind, we're all different. I could have one lesson down, one particular class down, and be the same class every time, not fret. Literally, every class I do, there's always a shade of difference to it. There's something, and that's just the way I do it.
Yeah. All right, well, how would you describe your relationship with HMI?
My relationship with HMI, I would describe it as a good relationship. Yeah.
All right. And what, if any, do you have any wishes or dreams for your hypnotherapy career that are yet unfulfilled?
Well, at the moment, you see, I've gone all the way through to a career and then come back down again to again, like I have a full load, and it's just, and by a full load, that full load is now just 2 days. It's a Monday and a Friday at my hypnotherapy practice. And what's happened is doing hypnotherapy opens you out into this whole world of alternative, the alternative experience. But dealing with anything, dealing with the unconscious mind, with the subconscious mind, how to improve behavior, performance, how to, now coaching is starting to come in, it's like the word, it's been there for a couple of years. And so that piece has come in. But it's always intriguing, I know. What I also like about it is it's not age dependent. Probably if I was 80, you get even more respect.
I think
so. That's a cool thing about it. You're not worried about, oh, I'm getting too old for this. The older the better, so I've always got that in my pocket as well. And it's so cool. No matter where you are, you can do what you do. You actually don't even need an office to do hypnotherapy.
No, you don't.
No matter where you are, you can be of use to people. I like that. I like the portability of being a hypnotherapist. Got a problem? I happen to have, the key there. I remember George giving us an anecdote. He's on a plane, and he was able to do like a whole dream sequence with the person just sitting on the plane. That's the deal. When you get this piece, you don't need a lot of equipment. It's just who you are and working with, the potential that they have, being, the subconscious mind.
That's wonderful.
And that's what I love. It's portable, it's snappy.
I love it, too.
Yes.
I'd like to thank our guest, Joe Leeway, for coming today. And thank you at home for watching. Please stay tuned. Coming up, we have a lot more great shows for you. My name is Wendi Eckstein, and you're watching HMIwebTV, Hypnotherapy Television 24/7. In-depth interview, we have Joe Leeway, who's given me permission to call him Joe.
Yes, please do.
Oh, so continue on.
Okay, so where are we? So
we are in Woodland Hills.
Yes, in Woodland Hills. So I'm living in Woodland Hills thinking, and now I'm having to deal with strangers, and they weren't friends, but they were musicians. So I went through a few drummers and a few of this and a few of that until I started losing the flavour of it all. I started to go, wow, this isn't so good, I'm failing again. I need to reinvent myself, because I don't have a problem with major reinvention, because how I got in Thompson was a major reinvention. So I ran out of money. I could no longer, the publishing was okay, but I tell you, when you're here and everything's being arranged in England and my accountants and that, I mean, when I first left, no one told me that I had to, we'd already paid like a whole big tax bill. When I left and walked out of the Thompson Twins in Japan in an emotional piece like this,
Hello and welcome again to Inside HMI. Joining us today for
to cut a long story short, cutting out all the gory details of where I went, but I went into, the long night, dark night of the soul.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then what made you decide to become a hypnotherapist? That's
okay, it's very, very simple.
huge.
Money.